Yok. Yay. Back vokal. Değil mi? Bence de. Hem daha dolu. Teşekkürler.
Ses deneme.
Sorry.
Ben melamet
Back vokal.
hırkasını kendim giydim eğme. Arunamız sesini taşa çaldım kime ne? Gah çıkarım yeryüzüne, seyreder alem beni. Gah inerim yeryüzüne, seyreder alem beni. Ah haydar haydar, seyreder alem beni. Haydar haydar, seyreder alem beni. Sofralar haram demiş bu aşkın vadesine. Ben doldurur ben içerim, günah benim kime ne? Ah haydar haydar, günah benim kime ne? Haydar haydar, günah benim kime ne? Haydar haydar, günah benim kime ne? Haydar haydar, günah benim kime ne?
Bunu ben dedim ki açın. Onlar tam bu gitar için olan dedi mi dedi. Ben de evet dedim. O yüzden geri yerine koyuyorum. Say. Geçti, gözyaşları kaldı çimende. Gürengi şarap içilmez mi böyle günde? Seher yeli eser yırtar eteğini gülün. Güle baktıkça çırpınır yüreği bülbülün. Bu yıldızlı gökler ne zaman başladı dönmeye? Kimse bilmez, kimse bilmez. Bu yıldızlı gökler ne zaman başladı dönmeye? Kimse bilmez, kimse bilmez. Bulut geçti, gözyaşları kaldı çimende. Çimende rengi şarap içilmez mi böyle günde? Seher yeli eser yırtar eteğini gülün. Göle baktıkça çırpınır yüreği bülbülün. Bu yıldızlı gökler ne zaman başladı dönmeye? Kimse bilmez, kimse bilmez. Bu yıldızlı gökler ne zaman başladı dönmeye? Kimse bilmez, kimse bilmez. Kimse Thank you. Sokaklar sakin, geceler karabasan. Ellerim titrer, kim bu ben, kim bu susan? Ne soran var ne bilen, sebebim yok bana Vazgeçtim rüyalardan. Beni sevmezsen yağmurları sev, bulutlar ağlasın, sen gül güneş doğsun. Yeniden gidiyorum, gözüm yaşlı, ah yine yol üstüne. Sen sev yağmurları, yağmurlar yağsın üzerime. Gidiyorum, gözüm yaşlı, ah yine yol üstüne. Sen sev yağmurları, yağmurlar yağsın yüzüme. Yüzüme, yüzüme. Sokaklar sakin, geceler karabasan. Ellerim titrer, kim bu ben, kim bu susan? Ne soran var ne bilen, sebebim yok bana kıyan. Erkeğim sen gül, vazgeçtim rüyalardan. Beni sevmezsen yağmurları sev, bulutlar ağlasın, sen gül güneş doğsun. Yeniden gidiyorum, gözüm yaşlı, ah yine yol üstüne. Sen sev yağmurları, yağmurlar yağsın üzerime. Gidiyorum, gözüm yaşlı, hatıran har yüreğime. Sen sev yağmurları, yağmurlar yağsın yüzüme. Yüzüme, yüzüme. Thank you.
Nasıl, keyifler yerinde mi? Çok teşekkür ederiz müzisyen arkadaşlarımıza. Benim son sahnem. Bundan sonra konuşmalar olacakmış. Sen gülünce güller açar gül pembe, bülbüller seni söyler, biz dinlerdik gül pembe. Sen gelince bahar gelir gül pembe, dereler seni çağlar, sevinirdik gül pembe. Güz yağmurlarıyla bir gün göçtün gittin, İnanamadım gül pembe. Bizim iller sessiz, bizim iller sensiz, olamadı gül pembe. Güz yağmurlarıyla bir gün göçtün gittin, İnanamadım gül pembe. Bizim iller sessiz, bizim iller sensiz, olamadı gül pembe. Teşekkürler. Dökülür yedip verenler teninden rengarenk, açarsın mevsimli, mevsimsiz bir tanem. Değişir kokun, ısınır kanın, beni yakarsın. Vazgeçilir gibi değil bu medceziler, fırtınam, felaketim, hasretim yetmiyor, sevişmeler yetmiyor. Şiddetin ne hoş, ne güzel şefkatin. Sevdikçe sevmesim geliyor. Ölene kadar peşindeyim, bırakma. Tutuşur geceler, geceler yanar, geceler söner. Bedenim alt üst, sarhoş başım döner. Karışır tenime, karışır teninin tuzu. Bir tanem vazgeçilir gibi değil bu medceziler, Çok teşekkür ederim herkese. Çok sağ olun.
Thank you very much, Kermahan, Ebru, and Ezra for the beautiful music tonight. Before we're going to continue with Jörg and Till and Paul and Anna and Seygun, I would like to ask Rahel, who's one of the... Hello? Can I have your attention, please? Thank you. Thank you very much. So before we go over to the second half of the official program, I'd like to ask my friend Rahel to come and join me. Rahel, I'm not only blessed to call her my friend, but she's also one of the initiators behind this event. And I'd really like her to give you a little bit of feedback on how all of this came together. And I really would like to invite you to pay the attention to Rahel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Melanie. I mean, I hope that since it's loud, I hope that everyone is enjoying their time. Yeah, welcome everyone. Happy to stand here. So, remember back, 4th of February. It was actually my birthday. Many of you were there. And I really enjoyed my time. And I think we all enjoyed our times very much. And we didn't know what was going to happen only 48 hours later. And 48 hours later, in the morning, we woke up to terrible news. And I know that, yeah, there's terrible news all the time on the internet, on the TV, every minute, and so on. But for me, this was really special because my colleague, my co-founder, so many of my friends, so many of my relatives were actually seriously impacted. And we felt helpless. I mean, I have a small company here, and I have little impact. I have little influence on things. And I know that many of my friends felt the same. But there's a saying. Alone, I can do so much, but together, we can do much, much more. And yeah, that's how we got together as a group of founders and a small group of people and said we want to do something. And Startups Unite was born. So there's this wonderful group of amazing people that, and we did this event all together. And I know that normally these types of events take months, take maybe a year to organize. But we took our strengths as startup founders. We are very implementation focused and we are very well at executing. So within only a few weeks, we made this event possible. So I'm very, very happy to see you all here and grateful for all of your contributions. So enjoy your night and the networking.
Thank you, Rahel. So next, I'd like Jörg Reinbold and Till Benke to join me. And we'll have a succinct, short, very informative discussion on the philosophy on investments and what Jörg, who's a very successful investor, thinks, how he makes his decisions, how he looks at opportunities, and Till, who's the founder of Nebenan and Better Place. And Nebenan, of course, everything is about community, and that's what we're doing here tonight. So we're building a wonderful community, and we're thinking about other communities that need our help and that need our support. And so follow this short discussion, I will ask Paul and Anna to join me. Anna is the founder of Migrapreneur, and Paul has just returned from Turkey, actually from the area. He's part of the International Search and Rescue Committee, and he can give us some insights from the ground of what he has observed, and then Seda will join after. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, should be working.
This one works.
It does.
Okay, so there's some chairs here if you want to sit here, which might make sense if you want to listen to us and discuss with us. Yeah, first of all, thank you all for coming tonight and for being here and for supporting the cause that brought us here. That is really sad, but at the same time it's good that we all take the time, the energy, and come together to do a little bit. And I think that's what we can do. So I'm supposed to talk about how we invest. What I actually want to talk about is patterns and principles that might make startups and ideas successful, because that is also actually what we are looking for when we invest. I try to do this really quick, and then Till, whom I know for a long time, can talk a little bit about, after the very early stage where we invest, what to do actually with a company that's working, and how to scale. So I took notes on my cell phone. Usually this goes horribly wrong. Once I was called from the school because one of my sons, while I was reading the notes and giving a speech, fainted and fell and hit his head on a radiator because the teacher told a story about a dragon whose heart was ripped out. And poor Lasse found this so horrible that he fainted. And so if the school calls, which it wouldn't do tonight, I will have to take the phone. Another time I was standing in front of, I think, 1,500 people in a very large conference, and I also had my notes on my cell phone, and my co-MD called me, and I couldn't click him away, so we had to wait for a moment until the call went to voicemail. So how do we actually invest? Maybe I should tell you where I come from. So we are APX. We invest in very early stage teams. With APX and Axel Springer Plug and Play, the fund that I helped to build before, we have invested in more than 280 companies from all over Europe, so quite a lot of them. We are a super early stage investor. Usually we invest before business angels come on board, so we are investing in the very, very early stage, very, very early stage. We want to invest in the best founders and the best companies, obviously. And we are not only looking for the usual suspects, we also want to invest in, we sometimes call them under-networked founders coming from environments where it's not so easy for them to get into the venture capital world, to get access to capital, to get access to the growth paths of the world that the normal founders or the founders coming from the elite universities get their capital from. And we have been doing this so far quite successfully in many countries and also in Germany. And the three questions we always ask ourselves that you probably also know, but I think it's important to look at them in this very compact way is, why you, why this, and why now? I think these are the questions you need to answer when you want to start a company. And then you only need to figure out with whom you want to build the company, what you actually want to do, and how you want to do this in the environment that is around you. And in order for this to work, you need to have a very clear idea of what success looks like, and also a very clear idea of what you actually want to do and how you want to get to this success. And one of the patterns and principles that I've learned is important to making this happen is you need to create clarity and transparency for the people around you, all the stakeholders you're working with. You need to figure out how does responsibility and accountability actually work. The accountability part is really important. And you need to also create the room for everyone to fill the space and to do the things that they need to do to make your plans a success. And turning plans into reality, I think, is the most important thing for founders, but also for people who organize evenings like this. And for everyone here who has ever made a plan and then turned it into reality, you might have figured out that this actually never works, which is a good thing, because you can always adapt and adjust the things that you do. And usually you create a reality that you need to understand and you need to deal with and then figure out how you want to change your plan. It's an ongoing process, even if you are building something that's extremely successful. The realities you create, you need to really understand. And another important thing is you will deal with reality distortion. You will have a different understanding of the reality than others. That's sometimes the thing that makes you a successful founder, and sometimes it's super dangerous because you're living in a reality that no one else is living in. So, but it's a powerful tool. Then super important is sustainability. Not only the ecological sustainability, also the economic sustainability. Like when you don't need any external capital because you are highly profitable, you can grow like you want to. You don't have to ask anyone for capital. You don't need to ask anyone to allow you to do something. Unfortunately, usually when you are starting a venture, a fast-growing company, you don't have the capital yourself, so you need to get it from someone else. But being independent, being able to grow your company, being able to do all the things you want to do, I think economic sustainability is extremely important. And then there's also a third very important dimension of sustainability, and I would call it organizational sustainability, and it is how you build a sustainable team, how you develop a culture of working together, how you deal with being aligned, how you deal with not being aligned, how you deal with setting goals, how you take people along, how you deal with people not growing as fast as you want them to grow, dealing with all kinds of cultural issues, especially when you build like multicultural organizations with people coming from different cultural backgrounds. Like in my company, we are 15 people from 11 countries, and we have super different upbringings. And I can tell you that the way to deal with conflict is very, very different between some of the cultures my colleagues are coming from. Some are like extremely fast forward and direct, and others are a little bit more indirect and experience it as super insulting. So there's a lot you have to deal with. I don't know how long I can talk. I can go on for hours, by the way. I'll stop soon. I'll talk.
Well, almost, but...
Two more things I want to mention. One is, in the early stage, usually we always say that as an investor you are looking for traction. That's true. When you're in the early stage, there is usually no traction because the companies have not found product market fit. But there's something you can look for. We call it momentum. So when you turn an idea into reality, you will see momentum. Momentum can be when people want to invest. Momentum can be when people want to join your company and work with you. Or momentum can also be when customers are lining up and saying, hey, this sounds really cool. I want to have this. I want to use this. And so momentum can be extremely helpful when you're not at the stage where you can already discuss traction with, for example, your future investors. And then is the last thing I want to talk to you about, the and then thing. When you build things, when you do start a company, very often people don't ask and then enough. That's one of the most, the biggest reason why companies fail in our portfolio is because the founder teams don't get along with each other anymore. But we are getting better and better figuring out how team dynamics work. The second thing is not asking enough and then questions. And I think, and then 5 levels deep usually is the best way to figure out the solution to problems, especially when you like and then them with several people and different thoughts. There's more of these principles. If you're interested in talking to me about them, I'm around. Yeah, and thank you for listening.
No, thank you, Jörg. This is really insightful. And I think next time we'll book him for 3 hours. And as I said, after 9 o'clock, we'll have some networking opportunities. And I think Jörg is still around. Okay, so we can ask him. And by the way, I'm a certified mediator. So if you conflict, I'll come in and help you. And now on to Till. So Till has been a recipient of investment from Jörg and his company, and he's going to share with us, actually co-founders, look at this, and how to scale responsibly and when to scale and what to look out for.
So there's also a lot I can pick up on what Jörg talked about. I learned something new, even though we've been founding together 15 years ago and we've been spending a lot of time together. I learned something new every time, also on a professional level. But first of all, I want to say thank you for having me. And Jörg and I talked before that it feels very strange coming together for an evening for this course. Which is a very emotional course, and then kind of also having a networking event and talking about our work, right? And using the opportunity to connect, but at the end, it's a good mix, right? We all come together because we feel we can make a tiny bit of difference to this cause, and also we bring with this reason to come together this evening. It's bringing together a special bunch of people, and so I think this is also where private involvement with special causes and professional life should come together. I've been spending all my working life with founding companies, building companies with people I really like and where I share the same set of values. And so, yeah, I think even talking about business tonight and making new connections and with all the people in the room, I think, yes, maybe it's good to connect this cause and evening also talking and sharing a little bit about business insights. But I felt strongly we want to say that we didn't come here to line up our deal flow or, just share our work experiences. I'm here because I grew up with a lot of Turkish friends in Heidelberg, south of Germany, because I now run a company with more than 150 co-workers, with a few Turkish colleagues. And so I have indirect only, but quite close connection to this unbelievable happening and feel strongly about. So this is much more important to me than sharing any of the business stuff. Anyway, I think the reason I was also invited is because I was involved 15 years ago in founding Better Place, where we listened to Björn this evening, who's now making Better Place a very successful digital non-profit organization. It's always important to say it's a non-profit business. And Jörg co-founded with me 15 years ago. But I founded again a platform called nebenan.de in Germany. We also run platforms in France and Spain and Italy. And we're not running one big social network, but 10,000 hyper-local small networks. I think enough of my business, but when it comes to disaster response and also to connecting in crisis situations, we've seen here in Germany with Corona lockdowns, how neighbors can help each other and make a huge difference for people who can't leave the house. And someone else goes shopping for them, someone else takes the dog for a walk. And then we had a lot of refugees from the Ukraine coming to Germany last year, and we had in all of the 8,000 German neighborhoods, digital neighborhoods, the whole neighborhood engaging in taking in these new neighbors, helping with kids' clothes to translations and all of this stuff. So building strong local communities is at my heart now. I think what's the biggest difference is not what we're making today or what all the money donations are making, but actually in Turkey and Syria, it's the local people. If local people are connected and help each other, this is what makes all the difference. So I'm feeling sorry that we don't run digital communities in Turkey and Syria. I wish we would. It could also make a little bit of difference, but hey, at least we can relate, and it's another reason we spend our time tonight and also some money to help and make a difference. So connecting to all what Jörg said, I should come with my next founding to you. I just realized Better Place was my first founding, and it was very early stage. We didn't even have the idea ready, and you kind of invested time and money. And then the second time around,
It was like always, it's the people.
It's the people, yes. So in my case, I only raised through the co-founders and myself as teams before even we get the idea right. With nebenan.de, we raised in Germany real venture capital instead of friends and family, without having a pitch deck or a business plan or a prototype or anything. So I think we had the why so ready that even the what and the how, so the who and the why was so strong, I believe many companies that are normal startups, I would also consider a social business. So because I consider myself a social entrepreneur, it's quite important to me. I founded one organization that's a non-profit and now a second one that is for-profit, but with not for making money first, but to have a positive social impact. But I think a lot of companies that are founded, I would even say more than 50% of companies that are founded have a strong why. You know, they want to make something better for the people who use the product, and very small percentage is just entertainment. And if you go 100 years back, it's even car manufacturers, right? Somebody invented a motorized car. It made all the difference for society. It was not founded to make profit, right? And yeah, but I believe like fundraising early, the how and the who, as you say, is probably can lead you to more first momentum than having all the plans ready that never come into place anyways. But as I was asked or said on paper, how to scale responsibly, a year ago I could have talked much more authentically about scaling slowly and without feeling bad about it. Today I have to say upfront, at nebenan.de we were 160 people and we had to let go 30 people last year. So yes, if I talk about scaling responsibly, there are 30 people out there. Luckily, I think 28 of them are now back in jobs, in better paid jobs than in my company. I can even say for most of them, but it's definitely one of the things as an entrepreneur I never wanted to do. And if I talk about scaling responsibly, I would still think, and for the future, make sure that even less than in the past, I have to take my learnings and make sure I'm not growing in a speed that I can't control if things go differently. So we had to take a cut in external funding last year. We didn't make the revenue we planned to do, and all of a sudden we had a 16 million a cost base for the year 2023, but could only calculate with 10 million in total for this year. So we had to reduce our plan by too much to only save in marketing spend. But it was always part of my ethics to say I don't want to grow a company based on the plan to say we have to scale this with people in marketing, in revenue, and then at some point we just have to cut 30-40% of people cost and we are profitable, right? And we know it's a reality, and for some companies it does happen and come this way, but there's a lot of founders who actually plan this way, and there's a lot of funds who say, okay, at some point, guys, either your plans that were very visionary are coming into place or you have to cut costs. So I'm not blaming anyone, as now I have the experience, it happened to myself as well, but I still believe more important than before is to make plans that can go without kind of taking and growing the people base to an extent where it's obvious that at some point you have to let a lot of people go. So that's my core focus with this happening last year, to say scaling responsibly. I think there's many other levels of looking at responsible growth of companies. And one of the things I'm deeply convinced is that if you think in long-term success for a company, you have much less problems with, I say, sustainability and with financial success. So that's one of the big problems of buying and selling companies, and it's one of the big problems of stock market listed companies, that there's 3 months, you have to deliver results, financial results, every 3 months. And that's when you cannot look after your employees, you cannot look after society as a whole, you cannot look after nature, environment, but you have to focus on your financial results only. If you think in financial success of a company in 20 years, and right, we should only be starting companies that can add value to the world for more than a decade, right? We shouldn't start companies that we know they're going to look good in a short-term trend and then they're obsolete, right? It doesn't make any sense. So if you start a company that can add value to society and to their product market fit for long term, then in a 20-year cycle, it's not a conflict to have financial success or happy customers, happy team, happy investors, right? So the longer term we define success, the more we can make all stakeholders happy. And that's, I think, one of the principles we all should be looking at when reminding ourselves of the human touch in business that we should never lose, right? It's a financial industry. Those of you who are in venture capital, those of you who are starting companies or financing companies, you have to have a return. It's a business. You live on it. Your family lives on it. But the human touch not only means investing your money in non-profit. It doesn't mean only investing in things where there's no return on your investment. There needs to be a fair return on investment, but I think the real thing is to look at something that can add value for everyone in a longer term. And yeah, that's the one thing I'm trying to remind all my friends in venture capital and also my co-founders when they come up with a fantastic idea for some short-term trend or hype where I think maybe it's a fantastic idea to get rich quickly, but you're going to lose a lot of people on the way, a lot of money, other people's money on the way, and you're going to make more people unhappy than happy. And I think there's a bunch of people in the ecosystem of startups who are very aware of to keep the human touch and have it with their professional ambition. And I think a big percentage has an overlap with the people in the room who care about the world and not only financial short-term success of the business. So,
thank you, Till. Thank you, Jörg and Till. And so just to recap, it's about the why, the who, and the how. Don't what we say in English often is, don't let be perfect be the enemy of good. When you have a plan, a good plan is a good plan. It doesn't need to be perfect. And you said a couple of things. So to quote Milton Friedman, the role of business is to take care of business, but business needs to be available in 50 years, 100 years from now. And then the other thing you said a couple of times is profit. So I would like to quote a friend of mine who used to be the managing director of the World Bank, Bertrand Badré, and he says, profit is not a bad word. It's what you do with it and how you make it. So, and with that, I'd like to pass on actually to two fantastic people, Anna and Paul, and they will give us some really on-the-ground insights of what particularly Paul has experienced in Turkey and Syria, where he just came from. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you, Melanie. I would like to start different. Because I was first invited to talk about leadership and crisis and so on. And I think a little bit about it, like what's the experience that I have had. Of course, I've worked in the humanitarian aid in the past. And I've seen many things. I've traveled in many places. I remember one anecdote that I still think a lot about that. I remember I was somewhere in France. There were some asylum seekers just arriving, most of them from African countries, Syria, some Afghans. That was back in 2016. And I remember that the group of volunteers and we had some baskets with fruits and water, some tea, some coffee. And we were super animated at the beginning. At 6 a.m. in the morning, we arrived. I started to hand over bananas to people and coffee and so on. At some point, I started to see that there were more people coming, and then I started to give half bananas because there were not enough bananas. And then at some point, I didn't have bananas, nor coffee, nor tea. And there were still a lot of people left in the line. And so that got me thinking, and I'm a Latina, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. And I turned around and I said, what am I doing here? What am I doing? This is not helping. And then when I went back to Berlin, I thought a lot about 8, and everything, like a bunch of us volunteers were doing. And I thought about something that it's really well said in English. The road to hell sometimes is paved by good intentions. And we all have good intentions, but we're not all prepared to help. And that's why today I wanted to have this conversation. I was really happy that Rahel and Fernand made you come, Paul, because I have, for the things that I've seen and the people that I have attended with my first organization, Migration Hub, and now Migropreneur, which does something different, more in a comfort zone. I've never seen anything like Paul have seen. And so I would like to introduce Paul Philippe Brown, who works at ISAR, and who, on the day of the earthquake, at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning, was on the way to Turkey. Paul, join me here. So I prepared a bunch of questions for Paul, but I just want to involve you all in this. And I want to invite anyone who feels like joining me here. It's free. I hand over the microphone because we can't end up the whole night here. Ever since he see me around, I've been asking him questions. We had already a conversation before. But Paul, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, because at the end of this session, I hope everybody will join me and continue saying thank you to you, because if people would know that what you do is voluntarily, it's beyond our thinking, especially because some of us just getting into volunteering, it's hard for time reasons. And then not only for volunteering, but to leave everything behind and going to Turkey. So Paul, day of the earthquake, 4 a.m. in the morning. What happens next? Who calls you? Who decides that you're going to be in that plane on the way to Turkey?
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you that you are here. Thank you that you are at the live stream, that you donate for us, for all the projects on the ground. Thank you very much, therefore, first. The day of the earthquake, it was 4:45 in the morning, and my mobile made an alert, and there was written just earthquake in Turkey, get ready. And I thought, okay, yeah. Of course, at 4:45 you are still sleeping, so then I really thought, okay, just put it away and continue sleeping. But then I started Googling what happened there. And this moment, when I started Googling, I think the earthquake was 2 hours before. And in this moment, they had, I think, 24 of death on Turkish side and also 6 on the Syrian side. And okay, it doesn't sound so much right now, to be honest. But if you're watching earthquakes all over the world, within the first 5 to 10 hours, there are just maybe 100 death. There's a low death toll in the first 5 to 10 hours. But from this moment, 2 hours after the quake, there were 24. And as we saw, no, the picture changed now. Now there are thousands, approximately 50,000. Yeah, I think more. And okay, then I made ready in this moment. I got up. I'm a freelancer, so everybody of our organization is doing it in a volunteer way. We are all experts in our field, so of course our doctors are also doctors in profession, but also our rescue personnel. They are professional firefighters. They are handicraft men, all of them. And we all called our companies. I called some companies I'm working with, and I said, okay, there was a big earthquake, and I really have to go to Turkey now. And then our organization decided, based on the international request for assistance, to go there. And I think after this message, 6 hours later, I was on my way to the airport in Cologne, and we started in the night or we should start at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Unfortunately, there were some logistic problems with the plane, with our charter flight, and so we started some hours later, but nevertheless, we arrived in the earthquake area in the very, very hard affected province Hatay, nearly 24 hours after the quake.
So who decides who goes where? Because in total, there were 105 international rescue teams from different countries. Mexico brought more than 150 people, Germany in total together with you. 80 rescuers somewhere around. Who decides who goes where? How does that happen? Because you went to that area, but I guess not everybody arrives at the same place at the same time, because, you know, who decides that, and how does that process start?
From Germany, there were 3 teams, 2 NGOs at FIO and ASA Germany, and the THW, the German Federal Agency of Technical Relief, which is a governmental team. So I think there are maybe nearly 100 from Germany, but nevertheless. And all of these teams are certified by the International Search and Rescue Advisory Group, by the United Nations. And so we have several guidelines we are dealing with. And one of the guidelines is to always communicate, to cooperate with the local authorities, and we did this way. We had a very, very good partner organization on the ground, Syria and Turkey. We found them 2.5 years ago, and because everybody knows Turkey is a very often and very hard affected earthquake area, and so they were there, they prepared everything for us, and they were also in contact with the local authorities, and the local authorities told us to go to Kırıkhan, a little city, approximately 60,000 inhabitants, just 15 kilometers from the Syrian-Turkish border, and it was hard affected by the quake, and so we decided, or they decided for us to go there.
I have a very personal question, but before I go there, so ISAR goes by the German Charity International Search and Rescue Organization. It's a non-profit, it's based in Duisburg, and has volunteers across Germany, like you. And something that I didn't mention, Paul came for today from Erfurt, this is where you live. You joined 6 years ago. So before this earthquake happens, you have doctors, you have people like you in charge of communications, also prepared. How does ISAR prepares for a situation like this? How long it takes to be there, and who can join as a volunteer? Can I join as a volunteer? Can anyone from here join as a volunteer?
So to be honest, ISAR has birthday this year, 20th birthday, and so it took 20 years to prepare anyhow, because we started in 2003, and and just to make a little anecdote maybe, the biggest rescue operation we had on site took us nearly 60 hours to save Zeynep. And I know some of you heard about her. It was also big in the Turkish media, of course, but also in the German media. And to have this 60 hours to bring her out, it took this long time of preparation. It took many, many quakes all over the world to prepare. But here in Germany, we have some trainings areas, which are also, kind of collapsed buildings. Sometimes we are able to use some walking sites of collapsed buildings, but we also have these trainings areas close to the Netherlands border and close in Baden-Württemberg, in the southern part of Germany. We are preparing our trainings in a long time, and we have 3 to 4 trainings together as a whole company or as a whole organization. So we are just 180 members. That is very, very small compared to the Federal Agency of Technical Relief, for example. But all of our members are experts. So we are training every day, because that's what...
And everybody has a job.
Everybody has a job, of course, yeah.
And you sign up and you said, I want to be a volunteer, and how many hours do you have to have aside to do that?
There's a basic training with 40 hours, and then you have participate in many, many trainings on the rubble. We have 2 big teams, for example, or the one team is our urban search and rescue team, which was also in Turkey, and we have emergency medical team type 1, which wasn't requested this time, but so it takes much time to prepare, and especially when we're talking about the dogs and our rescue dogs. We had 7 rescue dogs with us, and it takes every day for their handlers to work with them, to train with them, and they are training once a month, and they come from all over Germany and Switzerland.
Did you have to go to another epicenter like this before Turkey?
Yeah, I've personally been to Haiti 2 years ago after the big quake. It was in the same time as the rescue operation in Afghanistan started. So I think just a few people know about this.
Yes, and very few in the media as well.
Unfortunately, yeah. But
Which has caused tons of migration. Right now, they're stuck in Mexico because the United States are deporting them. So
yeah,
still a tragedy.
and to be honest, also the earthquake in Syria and in Turkey, I think it will have massive impact in migration moving within the next years. And we will. I have some friends who are here in Germany now, and they or sometimes also their parents left Turkey after the big quake in 1969 and 1999. And so many Turks came here this time, and I think we will have this effect again.
Absolutely. But now let me go to the personal part, Paul. You arrived there, we talk about technicalities, just to give an overview to the audience what it takes to work in an organization like this and in a rescue team like this.
Oh, sorry. Everybody is welcome to send an email to us. So we have a special email, Bewerbung.
For volunteering.
For volunteering, yeah. Bewerbung@isa-germany.
What do they have to have?
A professional background. Professional background in communication would be nice, but also professional background.
Doctors?
Yeah, of course, in medicine. Not just doctors, also nurses, paramedics.
My dog, can I go?
It
kidding.
takes,
No, I
it
don't
takes
have
a little time, but maybe, yeah. So it takes 6 years, and then you're welcome. No, but if you want to support us, not just by donation, also by yourself, feel free. I will be here after this talk, and then you can just also talk to me directly.
So, Paul,
Personal.
yeah. You arrive, we talk about the technicalities and how much do you have to train yourself. But how do you prepare yourself and your colleagues to go there seeing people dying, rescuing somebody after 60 hours of being trapped? How do
100 hours of
Well,
being trapped
there you
and 60 hours of rescuing.
How do you prepare yourself mentally for this?
So to be honest, all of us are experts. So of course the doctors, as I mentioned, are doctors. I for myself, I'm also a medic here in Germany on a volunteer base, of course, but so I'm also used to have these special situations. But nevertheless, you can't prepare to thousands of deaths. You can't prepare to so many collapsed buildings, to roads which aren't accessible anymore.
Have you seen something like this before?
No. And also not the much older colleagues who have been to Turkey in 1999. They also said it was a huge quake, but not in this dimension.
What happens next? You come back to Germany, you see life different, way different. Does any repercussion, anything comes to your head? I mean, you're professionals, I get it, but there needs to be something that you feel the difference, you know?
Of course, to be honest, when I was here and I washed my hands, and you have a heater here on the toilet seat.
Yes.
Yes? That is, for me, it is, after all the things I've seen there, it is so strange. Also, when the first day when I came back, some friends of mine, they were in a kind of gourmet restaurant, and I was there because I just want to fetch something. And they were sitting there having champagne. And I said, wow, I slept in a tent without a heater. Okay, but I had a tent. The people around me, the homeless people there, they didn't have anything. And you are sitting here now drinking champagne, enjoying life, and joking about everything. That feels very strange. And for me, I'm really, really thankful for all the things I have here, for the structures I have here, for great people I have here, especially for people from the Turkish community here. So there is a huge thankfulness of the people from Turkish community here. I'm pretty sure if I go with this ISA jacket now in a doner shop,
For free?
maybe I can have the shop for free. No, they are really, when I met Rahel 3 weeks ago at a panel, it was a very small panel, but afterwards, everybody asked me, am I allowed to hug you? I just want to say thank you. And this is something which gives me and also the rest of our team a lot of power and a lot of motivation we have.
How's now? How's the situation now, please?
And maybe I hope I'm allowed to add something. I think it was the 20th of February. It was one day after the day of Hanau attack. And I was there at the Brandenburger Gate to give a speech after the Bundespräsident Frank-Walter Steinmeier. And I was the only one there who mentioned Hanau. Yeah, it was an official act, and we were talking, of course, about the earthquake. And as I mentioned Hanau because I think Hanau, NSU, all that stuff, there happened so much between the Turkish community and the so-called German society. But what we noticed is, I got a goosebump. But what we noticed and what many people said, the operation we did, the mission we did in Turkey, gave many people from Turkey who are living here in Germany now a better feeling about Germany. And that is also something maybe you should always keep in mind when you do it. We are not diplomatic in a diplomatic way there, but we did diplomacy anyhow. And we are really thankful therefore. So, back to your question.
We should send the AfD and Ausländerbehörde there as well. No.
I was at the. I asked for a new passport last week, and then I was there at the Ausländerbehörde because it was close to the Ausländerbehörde, and I said, so stupid, so stupid.
I know. Imagine all of us what they think about it. But anyways, going back to this, I guess for the only thing I have left to say or ask to you. Also because we've talked a lot, so I really invite people to join me on this. Can we talk about Syria? Is there anything that we can say about Syria right now? The things I know, things that you know, it's really heartbreaking. How can you mention something about what can...
I think we can't talk so easy about Syria. I think we can cry about Syria. We can cry about what is happening there, what happened to thousands of people also. We can see the death toll there, and I can't believe it. I think the numbers of the death toll in Syria are not true, because there are no official authorities who are counting.
Not even numbers.
Yeah, and this is, so I have some friends from Syria, and their families are affected, and this is very, very, very horrible. For us, we are, as I mentioned, international certified organization. So therefore, we are just allowed to go in these areas where you got this international request. We got this request for assistance from Turkey. So far as I know, there is no request by the Syrian government right now. And I see Björn from Better Place there. He's just shaking his head, and this is very, very horrible. And I think also the people there, they are in need. They are in need twice, because, of course, once you have the war, and on the other hand, you have this very horrible, disturbing, huge earthquake. And so we have been to Turkey. We know there are situations in Syria. Right now, there is a team of us, an assessment team in Turkey again. Well, they are not in Turkey. They will start in half an hour from the airport here in Germany. Just a little mission to make an assessment. What do the people need there now in the camps? And they will also talk to the people, how is it possible probably to support Syria, even when we are still focused, of course, on Turkey.
One thing that you all need to know is that helping Syria is not that easy because it's on your liability. There's no insurance that covers any organization to go and help in Syria. Once you go to a war zone place, it's out of any coverage or any support. So it's really a tragedy. And all I can say, if nobody wants to join, please raise the hand, show up, is we are here, Paul, because we're trying, I hope everybody now has an understanding of what ISAR does. And we're all here now, not just to drink the Prosecco, it's not champagne, it's Prosecco, because of you, and because what else can we do to keep ISAR alive? And what else can we do to keep people like you joining there with our pocket monies, with whatever we can do?
So as you mentioned, we are NGO. So we are not directly connected, or we are not connected anyhow to government. So that's why we can decide also to go wherever we think it is useful to go there. We supported also the Ukraine, but we have also been to the Ahrtal area after the big flood in, I think, 2 years ago. And how is it possible to support us? Of course, it is with money. To be honest, that's why we are here right now. We need the money to continue our work on the ground there, but also to prepare for the next disaster. And I'm pretty sure it will be. We don't know when, we don't know where, but we will be there. We will charter a flight as soon as possible. We will ask for a request or get a request and for international assistance. And we'll be there with our user team, with our emergency medical team, or probably with both.
Thank you, Paul. So if nobody says anything or wants to give a hug to Paul, come over.
I'll stay here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Paul. This was very thoughtful, very sobering, and I think it's setting the scene actually for Sedef Aigun, who's joining us now. And we talked about it before, we all have agency as citizens, as entrepreneurs. There's the first hug. And really, you know, Sedef is the founder of the United Hearts Foundation, and she can, yeah, well.
I'll give Paul a hug too.
Yes, because she will all give him a hug. And she's sharing with us of what her organization, together with another foundation, has been doing and continues to do to reach the people that are the most vulnerable and that they do need support and that they get it, and how best to support them with our finances. Because I think someone else said it earlier, no, they don't need any more shoes. We actually really the most sufficient way to support any kind of disaster is if you have money to give it to the organizations that are experienced in getting the things there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'll keep it really short. I understand some of us getting bored. So I'm as well, like some of you, two-hearted businesswoman working between Turkey and Germany. We invest in Germany, we growed in Germany, and we wanted to give back to Germany. So I found and formed United Hearts in 2019. It's a boutique platform, a goodwill platform to be able to help to the in need. And we helped Ukrainian refugees, we helped wildfire victims, and we helped German Stroke Foundation, and now we are facing the as it is described, this century's biggest disaster to earthquake victims both in Turkey and Syria. Of course, me having Turkish roots and coming from Turkey and having family and friends in the region made the whole situation more personal. The first 2 days was a big shock. Trying to reach family members and friends and trying to cope with the whole situation. And right after, we started putting it together and putting a team together to understand how we can help, how we can reach. Because being able to reach the region was the biggest challenge. The roads were collapsed and airports were damaged. And telephone, electricity, everything was gone. So it was almost impossible to be able to deliver any help to the region. And eventually, we started talking to the local people, the family, friends we know, then the local authorities, and finding the local partners. Because this is one of the most important things while trying to help, especially from a certain distance. A region you don't know, a lot of people you don't know. So you really need a local partner, a reliable partner to be able to help and to make sure your contributions are really reaching the right address. And I think Björn mentioned it a little bit. I would like to just add up one thing that we should be all aware, and I'm sure a lot of you has experienced. In this past 3-4 weeks, while trying to find the right organizations to cooperate and to meet right people in Germany to bring together and create a fund, I also realized there is a lot of, situation very open to abuse. I was very frustrated because there's so many organizations that arranged 8 trucks that were lost. And there was cases and heartbreaking news is coming that the contributions were being sold to the earthquake victims. And this applies to Germany as well. I think in the past 3-4 weeks, I personally identified a minimum 5-6 organizations or Stiftung collecting money for earthquake victims, but we don't know who they are. We don't know where the money goes and who they actually even communicate in Turkey or either in Syria. So we have to be really very careful about with who we are working together, and we need to follow up and research before we start, any attempt. So back to the situation. In the following days, I, of course, also losing 3 family members, I visited the site. And I don't know, I think we can empathize easily, but I don't know if it is easy for anyone from this distance to really understand what's happening there and what these people is going through. I'm 45 years old. I think I have never seen such a tragedy and such a chaos. And imagine area as big as UK, as big as an area from Hanover to Cologne. The size is so big. The amount of the affected people is so big. We are not talking about 1 million, 2 million. We are talking about over 13 million people affected. And I know it, Paul knows it, and everybody knows it. The numbers we are seeing in the social media or the news are not really reflecting the reality. So, so far what we have seen was 52,000, and we are pretty sure that this is twice, if we are lucky, twice more than that. And talking about 100,000 and maybe probably over 100,000 dead is a horrifying number. Nowadays, you don't even lose that amount of people in war zone. And there are still thousands of people missing, and probably by the time now dead. And there are over 4,000 or 5,000 children became orphan. And orphan, like really orphan, not just losing parents, but grandparents, uncles, aunts, siblings, cousins, just like entire families. And what really scares me about that situation is, because there has been a few incidents, human trafficking. Because there was a few attempts of kidnaps in the hospitals of some of these orphan babies. Luckily, it was caught, but we all know that human trafficking is also another threat in the region in the upcoming, weeks. And at the moment, there are around 4 million people temporarily living in nearby cities or hotels, student dormitories, and the remaining millions are trying to survive in container camps or tent camps, and there are still thousands and thousands of people waiting for tents. It's really heartbreaking, and we are delivering help. I mean, from all over Turkey and from all over Europe, 8 trucks and, the plane full of aids coming But because of the size of the disaster, it's not enough. It's not going to be enough. So there are still, I think, estimatedly maybe over 1 million people, sleeping in their cars or sleeping in a damaged building because they didn't receive tents or containers yet. And hygiene is another big threat because there's not clean water, there's not drinking water. They are completely depending on the delivered, bottled waters. And there's the toilet is a problem. Taking shower is a problem. And I believe in once the weather is warming up, hygiene and the diseases and probably an epidemic will be another expected challenge in the area. And beyond the border, there's other tragedies, as you described it so well. An area which was already destroyed and living under miserable conditions in the past 12 years in Syrian side is now destroyed again with the earthquake. They were naively putting things together, naively trying to normalize the life, and now everything is upside down again. Oh, okay. So, of course, I mean, these tragedies are never ending in the region. And as far as I know, at the moment, there is only white helmets working in the region. White helmets, Turkey and Syria together. And I assume due to the, logistic problems and war conditions, not all international rescue teams were able to work there, probably plus the political reasons too in the area, whoever is in charge of the area. So as United Hearts, we are, however we are a small foundation, whatever we collect, we are also trying to distribute it to White Helmets Turkey and the other local organization we identified. So maybe right after that you will see. Yeah, so we are cooperating with Needs Map. Needs Map is an organization completely founded by volunteering artists, doctors, lawyers, singers, 100% civilians. So, and they are in the field from the first day, especially in Hatay region, which was one of the city heavily destroyed. I believe Isar was also in Hatay region, right? And
as the first international organization.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and you have done fantastic job. I believe Turkish people will never forget about Isar, and this definitely, as you described so well, this definitely contributed to the, relation of between two nations. And thank you so much. We are back to the case. We are cooperating with these local organizations. And in some areas, as United Hearts, we realize that the situation is such an emergency, we don't have time to really look for an organization, and we have to immediately send somebody and deliver help. So as soon as I talked to a few locals, they said they are freezing. They are freezing, and they are receiving a lot of electrical warmers, but they don't have electricity. So, yeah, that's why they needed the old-fashioned coils or wood, so we immediately arranged 2 trucks of around 40 tons of woods to deliver in Maraş city and to the villages especially. In the city centers, of course, they are the first attention, and there was so many rescue teams directly landed into the city centers. But let's remember, there was a lot of towns and villages, even now, that there is still not really help, delivered, either for in the rescue sense or medical help or food contributions, food or whatever, you know, basic human needs. So this is the really, generally the physical situation. And another situation is the emotional impact, which is as important as contributing money or food, because these people went through an enormous trauma, and they are still actually. Yeah,
okay.
please, go on.
So maybe just give me the possibility to give you a very short story about it. And today I was there, close to Potsdamer Platz, there at the Chinese restaurant. And under this restaurant there was a subway. And I was there with a friend of mine, and we were sitting in the restaurant having a very nice duck. And then everything was shaking. And I went, what? And I asked her, did you feel it? And she said, no, what? It was the subway. I just felt the subway because we had so many aftershocks there.
Yeah.
And I know, and that's why I want to mention it now.
Yeah.
I talked to one of our translators who was there with us, who was also under the rubble, talking to the people in need. And he can't sleep right now. He can't eat right now. Yeah. Ahmed, maybe you see us. We try to help him with our ESA personnel, but nevertheless, he's just one of, no, not thousands, of million people who need psychological support right now.
Absolutely. Such a good point, because people are heavily traumatized. And in fact, we need to understand that there are still earthquakes happening there. Even today, we had in Adana, I think, 4.4. And there are damaged buildings, and every day with each new earthquake, there are more buildings collapsing. And there's a big trauma there. But another trauma is with these rescued children, mostly the orphans. I mean, their trauma is not just surviving an earthquake. Just try to empathize, you know. These children waited for help under the rubble for 4 days, 5 days, 8 days with their dead parents' body, with their dead siblings' body. I mean, I don't know how you ever get over such a trauma. I don't know how. I'm traumatized myself from this distance, watching, hearing, just visiting the site for a couple days. I don't know how they will ever get over this trauma, and how this whole region, including the Syrian side, will ever recover from this.
And I have one question for you, because these disappear. Do I need it? These disappear from media.
Yes,
right?
unfortunately.
So how to bring it back, not just necessarily media,
Yeah.
but how to bring it back to people, because
Yeah.
the fact that it's not being covered doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Syria is already forgotten in many ways. Yemen is forgotten in many other places. And how to bring it back.
Yeah. You know, you said it yourself. This is the simplest thing, because we can't stop what they deliver in the media. So this is not in our control. We use our free spaces in the social media. But one of the most important thing, and it is as important as any contributions you will make tonight, money, food, whatever, not to forget. Please don't forget. I mean, don't forget. And keep this subject in people's agenda, because forgetting is a part of human nature. We are built this way. We forget about. Eventually, we will forget about. We will focus on, we will move on. We will focus on our personal agendas, business, life, love, children, whatever. So, but these people's agenda looks like will remain same in the next 10 years, if we are lucky 10 years. So the best thing you can do is not to forget about them, and keep this topic in people's agenda. Keep it in your social circle. Keep it in your dinner table. That's the best thing we can do. And the rest, we will see what we can. And I'm aware, these humanitarian crises are never ending. I can see, I feel frustrated sometimes myself, and it's in Syria and Afghanistan, and then Ukraine, and now Turkey. It feels like it's never ending, but they were also normal people once upon a time, you know. They had normal lives too, and this changed overnight. So I know that we cannot save everybody. We cannot. But we can definitely, our contributions and efforts is definitely creating an impact, at least in somebody's life. So it's worth trying. So that's all I want to say. Thank you so much. And any contribution is valuable. Where do we go? Where should we find it? Well, United Hearts, I think you have the information. And you can either support directly the White Helmets or through United Hearts, because we will deliver to White Helmets anyway. And Needs Map is our partner in Turkey. Whatever we collect, we are delivering it to Needs Map. And then we are working together on the site. So our next orders of containers are on the way, being made. And I will be there when they are ready. So any contributions will definitely be relief to somebody. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm so really sorry. It's super, super interesting. And but we have to wrap up, unfortunately. But I think what's very important is what Sedef said. All of us have got agency. We all can do something. We can all contribute. And I fully agree with you with the many, many crises that are ongoing and will be. There will be more coming. Is who is making the news and how to keep it with us, and how to shed light on the, you mentioned Yemen, I mean, the conflicts that are not necessarily as prevalent in our minds. But I'd like to invite Till up here one more time, because, and thank you, Ferhan, because, you know, we had a goal tonight. We had a goal tonight to fundraise 10,000 euros, and as we can see, this is, so to say, the latest number. We are still a bit away from it. So again, ask your neighbors and everybody, but Till, I'll let you do the pitch here.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So I've been a professional fundraiser in other environments normally, but look, we've just learned that every contribution counts. We also just learned that probably 10,000 euro is a drop of water in the ocean, but it's a drop of water that makes a difference, that somebody will be able to drink of. And as this night's money is going to ISA, and also to help an organization that through partners on site can actually work in Syria. This is how these 6,200 euros are going to be divided from tonight. So we hope to support you a little bit in the next step, still going directly into this crisis, right? We're not just filling the funds for the next crisis, which is also would be a very good thing, and we should continue doing it, but it's actually going directly still into this crisis that is not over and probably won't for the next many years. So just from experience and from having so many people from tech industry, from Berlin in this room, one of the most privileged spots in the world, and in this beautiful place, we had fantastic food, we're having wine. So whether you are about to go home or to the bar and eventually start the networking bit, I'm not going to leave until we have hit 10,000. So I just spoke to you. Exactly, it puts some responsibility in this as well. So there is a credit card machine coming on stage just now. So either you go on the startupsunite.de website, where you scroll all the way down and you find this donation button. Is this correct? Yes. Right? That's correct. Startupsunite.de. And scroll all the way down, you find this button. And also Björn brought the credit card machine, and there's any amount given, makes a difference. And I just spoke to Jörg and said, Jörg and I are gonna double every euro until we hit 10,000. Just and And Jörg said we have to make sure to be clear this is private and not our investors' money that we're spending. And I encourage you to do the same. Basically, I don't care whether you use your company credit card or your private one, as long as it's not one of the companies I'm involved in. So please see Björn for the credit card payments. We need 20 people giving another 100 euros. And still it's a drop in the ocean. It's an important one. Still it's just hitting a mark where then afterwards I think we can have a glass of champagne or Prosecco or whatever it is again. But it's the reason we came here. And one thing that we can transfer directly from the startup world into this is you just said we should keep it on the dinner table. We should keep the conversation alive. We should invest not only the money but time and make other people aware. And when you keep stories at the dinner table, also about companies, is when you invested in it. So now you already invested with some time and some money. Put some more on the table, and you're more invested, and you keep the talk about it alive for longer. We all know it. The more invested we are in companies, the more marketing we do for it. So let's market for this course. It's a good one. Thank you. And I'm not going to leave without 10,000. So if you let me hang, Jörg and I have to have a longer conversation on how to close the gap. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank again everybody that's contributed to this evening. Thank you very much for making yourself available on a Sunday evening. I know particularly when you are working how treasured a Sunday is for you. I'd like to thank everybody that contributed financially or in kind to make this event a success. So everybody that is listed on this beautiful Hall of Fame has given and supported this fantastic initiative. I'd like to invite all our speakers that were here with me this evening to come and join us, because as you can see, we have a little thank you, a token of appreciation for spending your Sunday evening with us. And we, of course, would love to have a photo before we go into the social part of the evening, where we can ask more questions about any topic that interests us. Oh. And one last pitch. They are these beautiful, beautiful moleskin notebooks. They're by the entrance door, and they're available for a donation. That again, directly, everything that is fundraised tonight will go directly to the organizations. Okay? So no overhead. For those in the non-profit world know what I mean.
It's always an overhead. It's good that it's an overhead.
Yeah, I know, but today every cent fundraised is going straight. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, the next fundraising round is the funding hub.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes.
But too. Some more hugs to people in the streets for you? Yeah. Shall we? Shall we? All right. Right. There you go. Yes, okay. Hey, I'm going to hide my one.
Yeah, same.
Right?
Okay,
so I don't know what my phone is.
You can also pay by Google Pay, Apple Pay, we have EC card. We make it all possible. Everything. The only thing that I cannot accept is crypto at the moment, sorry.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. In the Wall of Fame, we have one partner. Oh, we can charge them.
Good idea. We can try.
Lovely wine sponsor, Wine Tosun. Are they here? Huh. Do you want to say something about your lovely wine?
Yes, I'm logging in.
Deutsch?
Yeah.
Thank you for all that what you do here. Danke. Es war mein Freund Ferhat bei mir und hat mich gefragt, ob wir auch was dafür tun können. Ich habe natürlich zugesagt, nicht nur hier, überall. Wir sind alle gezwungen, ne, ob wir wollen oder nicht, wir sind gezwungen, diesen Menschen, die Leid tragen, zu helfen. Ich bin Weinproduzent und Sommelier, der erste türkischstämmige Sommelier hier in Deutschland. Und mit Wein kann man viel bewegen. Ich habe mehrere Verkostungen gemacht, auch Events gegeben, auch für Gourmet-Restaurants, wo die Leute Eintritt bezahlt haben, haben gesagt, alle, die bezahlen, sollen 50% in die Türkei und nach Syrien fließen. Und dafür möchte ich mich an alle bedanken, die auch da teilgenommen haben. Vielleicht einen zu Wein. Wein ist kommunikativ, Wein ist Liebe, Wein ist Prestige, Wein bringt Menschen zusammen. Diesen Wein, was ihr vorhin bekommen habt, habe ich selber produziert bei einer Blindverkostung Platz 1. Wenn man traurig ist, spendet man gar nicht so viel. Aber wenn man glücklich ist, spendet man mehr. Das hat man Freude. Und dieser Wein hat so viel Flavonoide. Flavonoide sind Glückshormone, die Menschen glücklich machen. Und dieser Wein macht euch glücklich. Umso mehr spendet ihr. Da bin ich fest von überzeugt. Danke und schön, dass es dabei sein durfte. Schönen Dank. Dankeschön.
Thank you. And then our lovely food sponsors. Is Serving Chefs still here? Or did they already... Serving Chefs? Okay. Well, thanks to Serving Chefs for serving us food. Live stream. Sebastian, do you want to say something? Thank you very much for live streaming this event. And and you can see their services on live stream.
All right, so I'll just finish the event, but please stay and drink and eat. But I would like to really and donate. Exactly, thank you, Gülşah. Everyone attending here today and organizing and speaking, I would like to really thank you for being here. I'm really grateful that you are here and that you are speaking about it. So please do speak about it further. And I would really like to thank again Rahel.
Yes. Rahel, yay!
Well, now the networking starts, so feel free to get some more lovely wine and enjoy the evening.
Before I let you out, I think Sedef, Paul, everybody said something very, very important. We have no idea about the sheer devastation that's been occurring. So the people that were killed in this earthquake is at minimum twice the amount of people that have, sadly I know these numbers, and that's actually really scary, is at least twice the amount of people killed due to guns in the US, and probably about tenfold of what have been killed in the Ukraine-Russia war at the moment. So just to give you a sheer amount. And then I think everybody of us that has Turkish friends, Syrian friends, neighbors, do check in with them, because I don't know of anyone who hasn't been affected, who has had friends, had families. I've spoken to people who had 60 family members killed in the earthquake. So when you go home, when you see them tomorrow, do check in. Just, how are you? How are you holding up? Anyway. So I don't want to get us all teary and super, super sad. So we are here to connect and just be aware. We all have agency. We can all do something. We can all do a little bit to make the world just a little bit better and nicer to live in. Okay, good night.